Welcome to the latest episode of the Informing Choices mini-pod. Over the next 3 episodes, I'm going to explore the transformation of work by 2040. I recently gave a presentation in Dubai at a corporate world intelligence event exploring digital transformation in HR. In my presentation, I explored how technology, culture, and business could redefine employment and work by 2040. I looked at skills evolution, what sort of jobs, new jobs we might see in 2040, looked at the key drivers of change, and explored 3 different work models, different scenarios, if you like, and their underlying supporting business models. Finally, I shared 5 takeaways, the kind of things that organizations could do with thinking about now in preparation for this very different future of work. So what I wanted to do on the podcast is share some modified analysis and some of the ideas that I shared in Dubai. So in the first of the 3 episodes, I'll review the key drivers and explore a number of potential future business models. In the second episode, I'll share some thoughts on skills evolution, which skills might diminish in importance by 2040 and which skills might be emerging or be increasing in importance by 2040. And finally, we'll explore a number of possible future jobs, just to understand the different nature of work we might be seeing across the next 15 years. Then in the third and final episode in this mini-series, I'll share the 3 work models, the 3 scenarios, and what I think this means for organizations now. Let's dive in. We're going to start by looking at the drivers of future change to the world of work. And we've got 5 drivers to look at. Firstly, artificial intelligence and intelligent automation. AI will move from task automation to system level orchestration. So generative AI reshapes knowledge work, things like analysis, design, coding, and advisory. Autonomous systems manage logistics, finance, HR, and operations. Human AI teaming becomes a core competence. The boundary between tool and colleagues blurs. The big shift, though, comes when technologies converge. AI runs the data. Robots create the physical task, complete the physical tasks, and immersive platforms connect people. By the 2030s, we'll see widespread deployment of robots, AI, and immersive collaboration tools. By 2040, these will be fully integrated into how work gets done. By 2040, performance, supervision, recruitment, and even strategy formation will be AI augmented by default. It's this convergence of technologies that really transforms the workplace itself. Secondly, demographic and generational realignment. Workforces are aging in Europe and parts of Asia while expanding in Africa and South Asia. So longer working lives alter career arcs. Skills shortages intensify in advanced economies, and younger generations expect flexibility, purpose, and digital fluency. Migration, meanwhile, and remote work reshape the talent geography, the talent landscape. The result here is multi-generational, globally distributed talent ecosystems. Thirdly, new organizational and employment models. The 20th century employment contract is fragmenting. Hybrid and distributed models are normalizing. Talent as a service platforms are likely to scale globally. Project-based ecosystems will rival permanent roles, and organizations become networks rather than hierarchies. So work shifts from jobs to tasks, capabilities and outcomes. The idea of a traditional job diminishes. 4, climate sustainability and resource transition. Decarbonisation pressures every sector. Green industries expand in energy, retrofitting to resolve the implications of climate change, as well as the growth in the circular economy. Carbon accounting and environmental, social, and governance (ESG) compliance reshape reporting roles. Location decisions reflect climate risk. And finally, physical work environments adapt to resilience demands. So sustainability moves from corporate and social responsibility to be a core operating logic. And 5, geopolitical fragmentation and economic volatility. Globalization is being recalibrated. Supply chains regionalize. Digital sovereignty policies affect data flows. Cybersecurity becomes central to organizational capability if it hasn't already. And economic shocks accelerate automation investment. This all means that workforces must be resilient, adaptable, and strategically aware. So now let's think about business models. The potential business models we need to think about if we want to really think about how radically the future might change need to go beyond incremental change and really challenge today's assumptions about firms, employment, and value creation. They should help us consider, are humans still central to value creation, or are they increasingly peripheral to autonomous systems? So let's plot them on a matrix by exploring the intersection of two factors. Firstly, the degree of human value creation. Is it human centric or is it machine centric? And secondly, organizational structural stability, from stable institutional form to fluid dynamic structures. So let's start with the top left segment of the matrix, where we see fluid structures with human centricity. We might call this segment the sovereign human economy. We see humans remaining central as creators of value, but not inside fixed firms. Identity, skill, and community replace employment contracts. So let's look at the business models that form part of this segment. The first is sovereign talent entity. Individuals become legally recognized economic units. It works like this. People operate as micro enterprises, managing their own AI agents, data, skills, and reputation. Organizations contract with individuals as talent entities, not as employees. Lifelong learning, income smoothing, and benefits are self-managed via platforms. It's radical because it's the individual that replaces the firm as the primary economic actor. Career identity becomes portable and programmable. The next business model is workforce as a service company. What changes here? So the organization sells capability, not products or people. It works like this. Firms assemble temporary teams of humans, AI agents, robots, digital twins to solve client problems. Clients buy outcomes, for example, design capability for 6 months rather than labor hours. It's about outputs, not inputs. Employment becomes much more fluid. Workers belong to talent clouds, not to companies. It's radical because the boundary of the firm disappears. HR becomes a marketplace function, not an internal one. And finally, in the top left segment, the embedded work model. Work disappears into everyday life, products, and communities. It works like this. Employees contribute through immersive environments, civic platforms, or digital worlds. Work blends with learning, social participation, and identity. Organizations tap into communities rather than hire individuals. It's radical because the boundary between work and non-work collapses. Motivation replaces obligation as the main driver. Let's now look at the top right segment. This is where we have fluid structures and machine centricity. We might call this distributed automation. Structures dissolve, autonomous systems coordinate dynamically. Human input is episodic or reputational rather than structural. So let's look at the first of the models here. The first one is the outcome only firm. Time, presence, and effort are irrelevant. Only outcomes, only results matter. It works like this. Workers, human or AI, are paid only when defined outcomes are met. No fixed roles exist. People assemble around goals, and performance management becomes purely algorithmic. It's radical because employment law, pay, and supervision are completely redefined. Culture is replaced by incentives and reputation. And the second and final model in the top right segment is the post-organization ecosystem. Organizations cease to be the dominant unit of economic activity. It works like this. Value is created through temporary constellations of humans, machines, and algorithms. Governance happens at ecosystem level, standards, protocols, and ethics. Work is continuous, distributed, and largely invisible. It's radical because organizational design as such becomes obsolete. Coordination replaces hierarchy as the core management challenge. Let's now shift to the bottom right segment where we have stable structures with machine centricity. So we might call this the autonomous institution, AI managed capitalism perhaps. The firm survives, but humans no longer run it. Management becomes code, strategy becomes simulation. So let's look first of all at the algorithmic enterprise. The firm is largely run by algorithms rather than managers. It works like this. AI systems allocate work, set priorities, price outputs, manage performance, and even triggering hiring and firing of humans and machines. Humans act as exception handlers, ethicists, relationship managers, and creative problem solvers. Strategy becomes continuous and adaptive, not part of an annual cycle. It's radical because management as a profession shrinks dramatically. Accountability shifts from people to systems with major governance implications. Our next model is the zero employee company. Companies operate at scale with almost no permanent staff. It works by core IP, brand, and algorithms being owned by a legal entity. Everything else is delivered by AI agents, autonomous robots, gig specialists, or on-demand micro firms. Governance, not headcount, defines the company. It's radical because traditional employment contracts vanish. Growth no longer means hiring more people. The next model is the digital twin organization. Every role, process, and capability has a real-time digital twin. And it works like this. The entire organization is simulated continuously. Leaders test restructures, automation, the impact of layoffs in virtual worlds before acting. Employees may work alongside their own digital twins. It's radical because strategy becomes experimental rather than predictive. Ethical tensions arise between simulation and the real world impact of what the organization is doing. And finally, the bottom left segment. We see stable structures and human centricity here. We might call this segment purpose-governed institutions. Organizations endure, but legitimacy rests on societal value and humans. Automation supports, but does not displace human purpose. So the first of the two models here are the cooperative platform firm. Workers collectively own and govern the platform they work through. It works like this. Freelancers, contractors, and AI contributors hold equity or tokens in the firm. Algorithms are transparent and collectively governed. Revenue is shared based on contribution, reputation, and usage. It's radical because it really challenges big tech platform dominance. It blends gig work with collective ownership and long-term value. And finally, the regenerative enterprise. The firm is judged on its net contributions to society, not profit alone. It works like this. AI tracks environmental, societal, and economic impact in real time. Workers, both human and machine, are optimized for regeneration, not extraction. Automation funds social goods via embedded value sharing models. It's radical because business success is multi-dimensional and enforced algorithmically. It aligns automation with societal legitimacy. So, thank you everyone for listening. You will see the links to the other episodes in this short series in the podcast description or on screen if you're viewing the podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss another episode of the podcast again. And do let your friends and colleagues know all about the Informing Choices mini pod. I'll see you soon.